What are you doing here? It's Russ from the West Ham Network. Hope you're all safe and well. Happy weekend. It's Friday, yeah, Saturday, Sunday. What? Hope you're all well. Hope you got a nice weekend planned. I'm off to see Oasis Sunshine this evening. Looking forward to that. Down at Wembley Way. A couple of weeks ago, actually. Not seeing Oasis, seeing Starlight Express. How different my experience will be this weekend. And then tomorrow, obviously, we've got the final series of the final matches of our summer series in the United States of America as West Ham take on Bournemouth in the final match. It's not the final match, I think Man United's the final match afterwards, but regardless of that. So it'd be interesting to see what happens there. As I said, I'm quite confident at the moment. There's incremental improvements, definitely improvement in the overall performance from the Everton game compared to the Man United games. Maybe see a little bit more tomorrow. And then we've got Lille in the BS Cup. And then we play Sunderland. The season kicks off. And don't forget, we have got our Fantasy Football League running as per usual. Hundreds of you set up already. There'll be monthly prize draws with our new channel partners, as well as some signed bits and stuff for the winners. So get involved. I've got my team, which I'll do for about 2 weeks and then forget about it as per normal. But a few stories to talk about. Only one transfer rumour story. And it's a bizarre one. We spoke about it yesterday in sort of in passing about John Victor from Botafogo, who we were apparently, we sort of were linked with, and then, it was like always half the price of Mads Hermansen, and it was all Willie McKay, and it's like, Then it turns out, according to several sources, we put a bid in for him. That bid was rejected out of hand by Botafogo. Around 8 million euros was reportedly bid for him, for the 29-year-old Brazilian goalkeeper. He had a very good Club World Cup, actually, although there are some clips of some bloopers in the Brazilian Serie A. And according to fresh rumours, it suggests that the Hammers are going to go back in with a second offer, one that could come close to triggering his release clause. Now, this move has obviously caused a lot of confusion amongst West Ham fans. We've been quite aggressively pursuing, according to reports, moves for Mads Hermansen and Zion Suzuki. And he's sort of come out of the blue a little bit. He's been linked with others, been Everton and Man United. He's been touted to. Ex-Abechi employee. He suggested the sudden move may be agency-led. We know that Victor is represented by Willie McKay, a sort of super agent. And apparently it's not involving the usual intermediaries West Ham deal with. I to be honest, I think a lot of this is agent-led in terms of getting it out there, putting pressure on the likes of Everton, on the likes of Man United to put bids in. We do it all the time, and so agents do it all the time, get the names out in the public domain, so to speak. So West Ham have been keeping quite quiet on all fronts about this. It might be, they're sort of letting this play out, and it seems that we're really keen and selling him, forcing Leicester's arm and Parma's arm, maybe, or as an alternative, as a secondary thought, could he be someone? We know Wes Fodringham's not a very good goalkeeper either, so I'm not saying he's going to come in for the third choice, but maybe that Potter wants Areola gone completely, and he's bringing in 2 new goalkeepers, or Casper, the friendly goalkeeper coach, is suggesting that. I don't know. It's a strange one. It's clear that I still think that personally, I think we're more likely to see Mads be a West Ham player than Zion, but that's just my personal opinion. I think he, clearly, if we're looking for a ball playing keeper, he's very good. Now, according to some people, have reported that he's had surgery, he's injured at the moment, so it could be a case that maybe we're looking at bringing in Victor as the number 2 and bringing in Mads as the number 1, and then we'll move Ariola on. I don't know. We don't know, do we? We don't know. We're purely speculating. And then things like this just throw a bit of a curveball. Also, a curveball was somewhat unexpectedly / expectedly sort of thrown yesterday. Late last night report, it was on Callum Marshall and various others, suggests that the old Man City and Paqueta loving the old Guardiola Lucas courtship is very much still there. It was reported that, amongst others, including a fresh report in Gay Global, not Gay Global, Gay GE, Gay Global. Gay Global is a very different magazine. Plenty talking about balls, but shut up, Russ, move on. It says the Man City have officially informed West Ham they still hold a strong interest. That is the most roundabout way of saying we're interested in. They have officially. So what's that? Pep phones up Potter. No, I'm just speculating. Hello, mate. You all right? Yeah. I just want to let you know that I officially, I'm informing you that I still hold a strong interest in Lucas Paqueta. Brilliant. Thanks. All the best. Put it down. It's going to cost you 60 million. We know City put in, around anywhere between 70 and 85 million based on the reports, which was actually they put a 70 million pound bid, which Hammers rejected. I think in 2023, he had a release clause of 85 million, which they were going to pursue, and obviously the betting allegations started. Now that Saga's behind him, it's believed that Pep side are understood to have reignited their interest, with Paqueta still firmly on the radar. No formal bid has been made, but West Ham are bracing for him. But they've made it clear they're not parting with him for anything less than 50. Well, it says 50 to 60 million, but we were told 60 million, including bonuses. What I think is quite interesting is stuff that's come out from the club to say that Paqueta is more than happy to carry on playing for West Ham. They've shown great loyalty to him, and if they don't get the figure that he wants them to, that West Ham deem him, the price on his head, then he's happy to play on a West Ham. And I think that's the right way to be. He's got a price tag, 60 million minimum. That's what we've been told. He'll probably go for less because Caduce was going to go for 60 million. He went for 55. And that could explain us making moves at the moment for people like Mateus Fernandes and, some more sort of creative type midfield players. Potentially. It might be 2 and 2 together. But I think if he stays at West Ham, I think, we'll... for me, he could easily be hammered this year already, just in terms of his, I just think he's going to cook this year completely. I think I think Fulker is going to cook as well. And I think Diop's going to get some really good assists this year. And I'll talk about another academy player in a bit. Let's talk about another one now, actually. Let's talk about Callum Marshall. Now, if ever a lad is taking his opportunity in pre-season, as Billy Reid has said, has said before, if Potter gives youngsters opportunities, they need to take the opportunities. Callum is. We know he is. And according to reports, Potter's so impressed with how Callum has applied himself in pre-season that there's very little chance of him going out on loan, and he wants to integrate him into the first team, which is great news for Callum, great news for the academy as well. For me, I think he'll score goals wherever league he's in. He's just got that knack. He's a Craig Bellamy. I'd like to see him, if we're pushing for a game, plays a 2 alongside Fulkrug. I think that'd be really interesting. And that sort of, not saying Ashton Bellamy, but never got that. Never got enough of that. But there's an option there for sure. I mean, as I said, when Danny Ings left, for me, he was always going to fill that gap. He had a great sort of a loan spell last season at Huddersfield. Scored a lot of goals. I think he scored about 11, 12 goals. few assists as well, and that's great news. That's great news. We still need another striker, I think, to give us a young. I would like us to get a younger version of Füllkrug, more sort of up front, sort of target man. We've been linked with so many, like Erling Gisand and stuff like that. That's the type of ilk of player I want. And Callum being around the first team squad is fantastic. Speaking of people who are meant to be in the first team squad, let's talk about George Earthy, shall we? Now, exclusive for the West Ham Network. I had a chat with George Earthy yesterday at the Asda petrol station. He was filling up his car, his lovely BMW car. I was just coming out and I saw him. And to be fair to George, he gave me time of day for a couple of minutes, and gutted that he's missing pre-season. As we are, we're gutted for him as well. And I said to that, we all want you in the pre-season. Look, it's just one of those things. He did have an ankle support on his, but he wasn't he wasn't on crutches. He was on an ankle. He seemed to be walking okay. A slight limp maybe, but he was. Asked him how the injury's going. He's healing slowly, but it's healing. He's looking forward to finally getting back into sort of first team training. Obviously, the boys will be back after Sunday and preparing for the game against Lille. It obviously isn't that bad because he was driving and it was his right ankle, and even an automatic, you're using your right foot. So great to see George. We send him our well wishes, an exclusive interview with George Earthy in the petrol station at Asda. That's the type of life I live. Also, while I have you, I'm just going to talk about quickly the Lexi appeal we're doing. We spoke about it yesterday. We did a video in the morning, so go check it out. It's called "We Need Your Help." As a brief synopsis, there's 13-year-old girl, Lexi, West Ham fan, comes from West Ham family. Dad's based out in Abu Dhabi. Not very well at all. Literally a month ago, their world collapsed when she was diagnosed with an extremely rare and aggressive form of cancer. Experts are in the US and stuff like that. She's going for her first round of chemotherapy. Basically, they need our help financially for tests and travel and stuff like that. They're looking for about £35,000 they need to get. As of yesterday, we launched it. It was already about 10 grand, I think, before we came on board. I think we finished yesterday about 18 grand on the Just Eat, about 350 quid on the Trevor Brooks. There's two ways you can donate. One is via the GoFundMe page directly, or what you can do is buy a raffle ticket to win a signed Trevor Brooks or Trevor Brook in 1980 FA Cup shirt, and that runs until the end of the next week. So if you can, great. If not, hop onto Twitter. There's loads of retweet. If you retweet and stuff from the West Ham Network, or just to get it out there, or on Facebook, just to get the message out there, because you might not be able to help, but someone else will. And actually, by it being retweeted, that's one of the reasons why we got a lot of money yesterday, because there was one nice significant donation from someone who we reached out to. So anyway, apart from that, tomorrow we have the watch along, hopefully, if I'm not too hungover from Noel and Liam. It'll be all alcohol, no cigarettes for Russie B. And don't forget to like, comment, share. And at the end of the day, we'll see what happens. We just got to roll with it, innit? We just got to roll with it. And and we'll wonder, all this will be done. No, I'm done now. Anyway, take care. Stay safe. Stay safe, stay healthy, all that good stuff. And I'll see you guys soon. Don't forget, just don't look back in anger. I heard you say. Much love. Bye-bye.